Hi guys, I'm Rochelle and I'm a Ravenclaw, and today you watch the first of many parts of my book haul. I haven't really come up with a name for this yet. I'm currently working with hashtag sorry not sorry bank account book haul. So there is an event that happens twice a year in Brisbane. It's called the Lifeline Bookfest. And the Lifeline Bookfest is, I believe it's the world's largest used book sale. This is the June event that I have just been to. The Lifeline Bookfest is run twice a year, and all the money raised for it goes towards supporting the charity that is Lifeline, and Lifeline does something that is very important and very close to my heart, which is they run a call line for suicide prevention and mental health issues. They also do lots of family counselling, etc, etc. So they are a very important charity, and I like to support them as much as possible while also getting awesome books to read and then show you guys. So I brought home 14 plastic bags worth of books. Yes, 14 plastic bags worth of books. I haven't done the math about how much each book cost me. The final total is enough, and it's not one I will share with you. So what I am planning on doing for this series of book hauls is I'm going to do a 7-part series where I grab 2 bags of books and I'm going to unbox them for you. Normally with my book hauls I have a little bit more time to prepare for what I'm going to be getting, so I'm going to be reading the blurbs on the back of the books to you guys rather than summarizing them for you the way that I would normally do. I went by myself this year, and normally I have a support person or someone to rein in my my temptations. Unfortunately, I did not manage to organize that with anyone this year, so I was by myself all day, which was fine because I just put my headphones in and my audiobook on and looked at all of the books arrayed before me in a beautiful cascade of joy. So yeah, I'm gonna grab the first 2 bags of books and then I'm going to start pulling them out to show you. So this is my first bag of books. Now this is like a medium-sized bag. I've also got a small bag here so that you guys don't have to listen to my explanation every time. I should have thought ahead and got scissors. I'll be back. Alright, I have scissors now. So the first book that I've pulled out is Aeronauts Win Left by Jim Butcher. I have read, I think, aside from this one, almost all of Jim Butcher's work. I am current with the Dresden Files series. I've also read the Codex of Alexa books, so this is the only book that I think of Jim Butcher's that I don't currently own. I also received an e-arc for this book. Didn't get around to it. I'm hoping to change that very soon and read this, so I'll just tell you guys of what this is about. Since time immemorial, humanity has lived inside the spires. Habitats towering for miles over the dangerous monster-infested surface of the world. Captain Grimm of the merchant airship Predator was dismissed from Spire Albion's military in disgrace. Now his ship and crew are all he has, and he's fiercely loyal to both. When the Predator is severely damaged in combat, Grimm is offered a choice. Take on a clandestine mission for Albion's leaders or stay grounded for good. And even as Grimm undertakes this perilous task, he will learn that the conflict between the spires is merely a premonition of things to come. Humanity's ancient enemy, silent for more than 10,000 years, has begun to stir once more, and death will follow in its wake. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that this is Jim Butcher's first foray into sci-fi, so I'm very excited to pick this bad boy up. Now this book is enormous. It's over 600 pages, so that will be something that I have to account for when I get around to reading it. I've made this beautiful little pedestal for you guys so you can see. That was the first book. The next book is Fiona McIntosh's The Scrivener's Tale. This is a book that I've been eyeing for a while, and when I saw it on the table I was like, yes please. Ooh, someone's left a postcard inside here. Well then, I guess I know what they were using for a bookmark. So free bookmark for me! The synopsis for this is, in the bookshops and cafes of Paris, Gabe is trying to put his shattered life back together after a traumatic event. His work as an acclaimed psychologist is over until he is asked to help treat a delusional young woman. At first, Gabe thinks the woman, Angelina, is merely terrified, but as their relationship deepens, Gabe's life in Paris becomes increasingly unstable. He senses a presence watching him, and he feels a growing attraction to Angelina, who speaks of an extraordinary place called Montgravia. When Angelina shows Gabe that the cathedral he has dreamt about since childhood is real and exists in the Montgravian capital Perlis, Gabe is stunned. Soon his world will be turned upside down, and he will learn shocking truths about who he is and who he can or cannot trust. So yeah, that's seems like a portal fantasy kind of style. For those of you that don't know this, and a lot of you probably don't, I wanted to be a psychologist for a very long time. That did not happen, but I still really enjoy reading about psychology and psychologists and their treatments, etc. So this seemed like a good way to combine two of my favourite things, fantasy and psychology. The next book that I've got is Green Rider by Kristen Britton. My sister has read and owns all of the books currently released in this series. So this synopsis is a bit longer than the other ones, so buckle up. And also, I apologise in advance if I say any of these names at all through all of these book hauls wrong, because I'm gonna do that at some point. Carrigan has always seemed to be getting into a fight, and today was no exception. But as she trudged through the forest using her long walk home to contemplate her depressing future, a horse burst through the woodland and charged straight for her. The rider was slumped over his mount's neck with 2 arrows embedded in his back. Wherever his horse was taking him, he would be dead long before they got there. There's nothing Carrigan can do as the young man lies dying on the road. He had sworn to carry out his mission as a Green Rider, one of the legendary royal messengers, and he carries a life and death message for King Zachary. Carrigan may be unable to save him, but she can swear to complete his final quest. But there is more. With his dying breath, he warns her to beware the Shadow Man. Caught up in a world of deadly danger and complex magic, compelled by forces she cannot understand, her single promise to deliver a letter is about to become a race against time and a race for her life. So that is Green Rider. The next thing that I grabbed at Bookfest, my package is falling over, is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Yes, I have not read the Wheel of Time series. I'm making moves to change that. Look at these things. Look at them, they're enormous. There's 14 of these. 14! If Brandon Sanderson hadn't finished this series, I would just wash my hands of it. This is in pretty decent condition for a second-hand book, so I'm pretty happy to snag that from Bookfest. So I will read the back of this one for you now. The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth returns again. What was, what will be, and what is, may yet fall under the shadow. So that's not a great synopsis, but whatever, I'm not in charge of this book. Yeah, this is what is considered a very fundamental book to read if you're into sci-fi and fantasy. So I grabbed the first one with these new spines. When you get all 14 of these, they line up and make a picture similar to the front cover of this one. So hoping to snag some more of these. This one is over 800 pages. So there goes a lot of my time. The next thing in this bag is Stormbringers by Philippa Gregory. I read Changeling earlier this year and enjoyed it, and when I saw this one, I decided to pick it up because it was super cheap and these are short and pretty easy to read. I'm going to grab the first one of these and read the back of that to you because that makes life easier. I also know that the next book in this bag and the final book in this bag is Fool's Gold, which is the third book. So yeah, these are second and third in the series. So I'll put those there while I grab Changeling. Yeah, they're the correct size. Beautiful. Alright, so the synopsis for Changeling is: the year is 1453 and all signs point to it being the end of the world. I wish. Accused of heresy and expelled from his monastery, handsome 17-year-old Luca Vero is recruited by a mysterious stranger to record the end times across Europe. Commanded by sealed orders, Luca is sent to map the fears of Christendom and to travel to the very frontier of good and evil. 17-year-old Isolde, a lady abbess, is trapped in a nunnery to prevent her claiming her rich inheritance. As the nuns in her care are driven mad by strange visions, walking in their sleep and showing bleeding wounds, Luca is sent to investigate, and all the evidence points to Isolde's criminal guilt. Outside in the yard, they are building a pyre to burn her for witchcraft. Forced to face the greatest fears of the medieval world, dark magic, werewolves, madness, Luca and Isolde embark on a search for truth, their own destinies, and even love, as they take the unknown ways to the real historical figure who defends the boundaries of Christendom and holds the secrets of the Order of Darkness. So that's those. So there ends the first bag. So the second bag for this one is quite small. It's only got 3 books in it, but that is because I didn't want this to be super long, and I know that there will be super long ones in the future. So I'm going to grab that bag and drag it closer to me. There you guys, you can see it in the background. So the first book in this one is Secret Garden Artists Edition by Joanna Basford. You will have already seen this if you have watched my mid-year book freakout tag. This is the most beautiful book that I have bought yet this year. So this is a colouring book. This is 20 images selected from Joanna Basford's Secret Garden, and it's on like a thicker card, and there's only 1 image per page. So if you've got markers that you really like but tend to run, this is a good option for you. This retails for like $40 here in Australia, and I snagged this bad boy for $5 at Bookfest. So yeah, I'm very excited to be able to audiobook and colour when I'm stressed out. So that's that. It's ruining my tower effect. So the next book that I've got in here is Finnegan of the Rock by Melina Marchetta. Ooh, it's got cool little details all over. Those snowflake thingies are raised. I don't know if you can see them in here. This is the first book of a pretty predominant young adult fantasy series that I have never read. So I want to fix that. So I picked up the first book. It was the only one. The first book was the only one that I saw while there. Unfortunately, that's just what happens at Bookfest. Sometimes you'll see the first book, sometimes you'll see the second book, sometimes you'll see the third book, sometimes you'll get all 3, sometimes you'll get a combination of all of those, but sometimes you luck out. So the synopsis of this is: and then the dark forces of the curse entombed the kingdom, separating a people in 2. This is the story, as told to those of us who were born to see such days, recorded here in the book of Lunacy. I assume that I've said that wrong. so we will never forget. Finnegan of the Rock and his guardian Sir Topher have not been home to their beloved Lumatere in 10 years. Not since the dark days when the royal family was murdered and the kingdom put under a terrible curse. But then Finnegan is summoned to meet Evangeline, a young woman with an incredible claim. The heir to the throne of Lumatere, Prince Balthazar, is alive. Evangeline is determined to return home, and she is the only one who can lead them to the heir. As they journey together, Finnegan is affected by her arrogance and her hope. He begins to believe he will see his childhood friend, Prince Balthazar, again, and that their cursed people will be able to enter Lumatere and be reunited with those trapped inside. He even believes he will find his imprisoned father. But Evangeline is not what she seems, and the truth will test not only Finnegan's faith in her, but in himself. And that's Finnegan of the Rock. Man, this is just like totally ruining my tower aesthetic. How upsetting. And the last book that I want to talk to you guys about today is, I can get it out of the bag, Dreams of Gods and Monsters, which is book 3 in the in Laini Taylor's Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I will grab the copy of Daughter of Smoke and Bone that I'm currently reading and loving, so I'm very excited to get this. It's very shiny, but it looks very, very cool. So now I just have to find the second book in Days of Blood and Starlight in this cover. I will grab Daughter of Smoke and Bone so that you can see what the series is about. So this is Daughter of Smoke and Bone, this is the first book, so I'll just quickly read the synopsis for this one. Errand requiring immediate attention. Come. The note was on vellum, pierced by the talons of the almost crow that delivered it. Carew read the message. He never says please, she sighed, but she gathered up her things. When Brimstone called, she always came. In general, Caro has managed to keep her two lives in balance. On one hand, she's a 17-year-old art student in Prague. On the other, errand girl to a monstrous creature who is the closest thing she has to family. Raised half in our world, half in elsewhere, she has never understood Brimstone's dark work, buying teeth from hunters and murderers, nor how she came into his keeping. She is a secret even to herself, plagued by the sensation that she isn't whole. Now the doors to elsewhere are closing, and Caro must choose between the safety of her human life and the dangers of a war-ravaged world that may hold the answers she has always sought. And this has a little promotional blurb from Patrick Rothfuss, who is the author of The Name of the Wind, the first book in the Kingkiller Chronicles trilogy, which is my favorite book and series of all time ever. And he says, "Wow, I wish I had written this book." So, if that doesn't tell me that I'm going to love this series to death, then nothing will. So those are the books that I've got in the first part of this haul. I've gotta figure out how to thumbnail this. Maybe I'll just take a photo from me sitting here with all these books. That's probably the thumbnail, guys. I'm really sorry that you had to watch that. So this is the end of part 1 of 7 parts to this. Yeah, I think I am going to call it the #SorryNotSorry bank account book haul. If you guys have read any of these, if you are interested in any of these, please let me know. I would love to talk to you about some of these. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next part. I hope you have a magical day, guys. Bye!